Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Beyond the Bytes, a show that decodes the trending issues of the region. Well, viewers, the degree results in Assam are slated to come out soon. Hundreds of youths will be graduating, passing out from their colleges. Yet again, they'll decide whether to pursue higher courses or to take up a job. If they decide to go for higher courses, a majority of them would think of shifting outside the region, which results in a brain drain. For those who want to take up jobs, may run the risk of being underemployed, probably because they do not have the required skills for the job market that demands. So what is the way out of this vicious circle? How can our students be relieved of this circle, both brain drain and being underemployed? To decode these questions and much more, we have with us a very small group of panelists today. I have with me Dr. Sabrina Iqbal Sarkar from Cotton University, from the Political Science Department of Cotton University. A very warm welcome, Dr. Sarkar, to Beyond the Bytes. I also have with me Ranjan Barua, who is a career mentor. Welcome, Ranjan, to the show. And we also have this evening with us Dr. Gayatri Goswami, former HOD Education Department, Guwahati University, now a professor. A very warm welcome to all our panelists. I'll come straight to Dr. Sarkar. Graduation times, very exciting when you're in the army, but for our students, it's a very apprehensive situation, when they mull the next step in their career.
Yes, when we're talking about the problems today, brain drain and underemployment, I think rather than talking about these problems as problems, our quest should be, why are these happening? Why is brain drain happening, and why is there underemployment? Why are we producing underskilled graduates? Because, the problem is not there. The problem is under that. It is ulterior. We have to actually explore the questions which are, resulting in the phenomena of brain drain and underemployment and underskilled graduates. Because, when you look at the number of students in the state, there are so many students, and if a few go out, we shouldn't really be having brain drain, but we are having brain drain, all right? And the people who are left off, they are ultimately branded as underskilled graduates, and that is why the employment scenario is so meek here. So I think we need to explore the questions which lie beneath the surface rather than tagging these problems as
Of course,
problems.
we'll come to a lot of that later in our show. Ranjan, the same question to you. It becomes a harrowing experience sometimes for our graduates, fresh graduates, who are in the limbo what to do next. Why is this happening year after year?
See, it's happening because people who are getting good marks, there is one wrong ideas and thinking we have. If you get very good marks in graduation, suppose many people will say I'm first class, and then with very good numbers, say first class or more. But there is no job, I tell again, there is no job which is reserved for anyone getting first class or maybe 80%, 90%. So academic qualification being one of your attributes to become successful or to be employed. Now, rest what you have said about the other skill part. What we are missing, what is ailing in the region or state or as a whole our region, is that they do not have the required employability skills which they need to know. Because these are, qualified, everyone would be graduate. Some will get very good marks, some may not be getting 60%, 50, but they will pass. More or less, everyone will make it sure that they become graduates. But the problem is that they do not have the required skills, which result either underemployed, or they do not get employment, or even the problem is even they cannot become self-employed because the confidence, one of the things, a lot of things. So what I see, yes, there are two things, both problem as well as challenges. So we have to talk about what are the problems and even challenges, why they are in this condition. Do we blame the students? Do we blame the colleges? Do we blame the other people? So these are all need to think, but yes, there is a huge problem, especially Assam and the entire northeastern region, for people who recently graduates, and getting job is a big challenge for them.
Dr. Goswami, straight away, right after graduation, are we pushing, not all, but a majority of our students to a state where, again, till this time, till graduation, they had a direction. They were moving from a direction, from high school to higher secondary to graduation, and all of a sudden they, the vision is not clear anymore what to do, and perhaps the problem lies with the system. Is that the case? Would you agree?
Yes, I think it lies in the system, because our education system is such that we are qualified, but we are not educated. You may ask me, what is this? We are not educated. Educated in the sense that we do not know where to go. We are in the dark, actually. We are qualified. We are graduates. We are postgraduates. But education in the sense that we do not know what to do next. Parents also, they are not aware. So we push them. They do not have those that soft skills that you need. No? They do not know how to, what to do next, that big question. So they they're in the dark. So for me, my feeling is that, we have not been able to show them the direction. The teachers, the parents, we have not been able.
Not being able to show them the direction.
Direction,
Dr. Iqbal,
where
would
to
you,
go.
Would you agree with that? That's a very strong statement to make, considering that we have a number of good institutes, universities, colleges here, which have been of repute not just in the region but across the country. So what has gone wrong? Why does a person, a young student, prefer to do his degree perhaps in Delhi University or Hyderabad rather than staying back in Guwahati University, in Nehu?
I think first I would like to kind of add to what ma'am has just said. When she said that the students, they do not know what to do next, I absolutely agree with this point, because what happens is that there's a lack of orientation. They are studying, they have to become graduates, they are studying to become graduates, they have to get their master's degree, they are studying to get their master's degree. But we, ma'am will also know, we often have students who come to us and ask us, ma'am, what do we do next? Because they lack a sense of direction, they lack orientation. They are studying for the sake of studying, all right, but they do not know what to do with their degrees. And ultimately what happens, a lot of them, after their graduation or after their post-graduation, they'll take a 1-year break to figure out, to actually find out what do they want. And then they end up going to places like Delhi and exploring the opportunities, and in the course of time, when they leave the state again, parallelly, there is brain drain. Okay, and when you say about studying in the universities outside the state, this may sound a little fickle, but it is the truth that there are a lot of students who think that studying outside the state becomes a matter of prestige, because it's much easier, or it sounds very fab to say that, I'm from DU.
Is it just about prestige, Ranjan? Is it just about prestige?
No, not
Will it be right to say that?
No, not exactly that. Who wants to leave home and go outside? Preferably, anyone, they would obviously be in a good place, in a better place. Yes, sometimes they have to go. I'm not saying they don't have to go. They have to go for a better opportunity, for doing something good. But as ma'am has said, I would like to come back. Like,
so are they being forced to go? That is my question. Are they being forced to go? Or
in some cases, yes. Not in entire case, but in some, because that way, see, after +2, like we have many KVs, Kendra Vidyalays, we have now JNBs, we have got very good schools. Till class 12, we have got enough number of schools. But after that, where would they go? We have got, suppose if you want to go to any government colleges, fine. But then this government college, any government college in any part of Assam, from Saria to Dhubri, or you talk about in Borak village, wherever, or anywhere in Northeast, you come, you take admission, you pass your graduation, and they are least bothered what else you do. So the students somehow, when their peers are studying somewhere in Delhi or Bangalore, Hyderabad or Pune, they're saying, no, we are also doing some projects, we are doing some live thing, we are doing internship. Then they hear for the first time, because generally for medicine or something, this internship term, this block placement are very new to the region. So these things are happening in the western or other parts of the country. So now what they do that to get something new.
So is this where Dr. Iqbal, the region is lagging behind even the top institutes from the region? I don't want to name any here.
Yes.
But the top institutes from the region.
Yes, actually, the point that I was making earlier, I had not completed it. I would like to add to what I was saying is that, a lot of students also leave the state because, like Mr. Borwa said, a lot of opportunities or avenues that they are interested in is not available in the state. For example, subjects like sociology and psychology have been recently made available at the level of graduate and postgraduate courses. A lot of people go outside the state because they do not have the subjects in the government colleges or the private institutions. And even if they are available in the private institutions, they would like to study more about it. They want advanced courses which are not available. There are many reasons why children leave the state, and I do not mean to make a very generic statement when I say that they leave because it sounds good. A part leaves because it sounds
absolutely,
good. Yes,
there's no denying to
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
But a majority, they go out because, they want to explore. They want to explore the opportunities in terms of education, opportunities in terms of employment. And here, I would like to make clear that, we as a state are lagging far, far behind when it comes to educational infrastructure and employment opportunities. For example, an RTI was filed by SFI a few, weeks back. In that, a number of posts which were lying vacant in government colleges was highlighted. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there is unemployment because the employment avenues are not being particularly advertised. They're not being, the posts are not being filled up. And these are the reasons why the people leave the state, because there's lack of employment and educational opportunities in the state itself, which is a very serious problem.
So these two, of course, are very much related. proper educational infrastructure plus employment. It is probably because of the employment opportunities that more students are leaving than probably because of education, because we have students leaving even in subjects like English and history. You know, somebody
Yes.
wants to pursue that in DU rather than in Guwahati University here. Is that actually linked more to employment opportunities and the future prospects than just pursuing the subject? I'm sure we have the best of minds teaching history and English in this part of the country. Nehu, for instance, was one of the better ones across the nation when you come to subjects like English. But then why still students are forced to go outside for these very subjects for which it's the faculty, the facilities are available here? Dr. Goswami, yeah.
I feel, there's a type of a craze to go out of the state. It's my feeling. Like, you have so much of opportunities in Assam or in Meghalaya, in Nehu, in Guwahati University. I'll say about my university. Like, English is very good over there. Sociology, we didn't have it, but we are having. And here you find that the teacher-student, the interaction, it is very close. The rapport is there. Of course, when you go outside the state, Delhi, you get, there are advantages and disadvantages. You are away from home. Again, you have a good library facilities, which is open till night, isn't it? But some students, I feel, they have everyone is going outside the state. Why not me? Why not me? That type of a thing is there. If I don't go out of the state, maybe I'll be missing on something. So this way, parents also want them, even if they can't afford, they try to, send their children to Delhi or Bangalore or Hyderabad, and then sometimes they have to pay also. We know about the management seat.
Absolutely.
So these type of things we have to really look into.
That could indeed be one factor. But Ranjan, the students are getting very ambitious, and rightly so. And of course, the grass is always greener on the other side. And it again, does it all boils down to the employment opportunities outside that probably we don't have in the region, that is driving the students more than the craze of going outside?
In recent years, yes. In the past, it was different, because in the past, people who studied PG or something, they had a dream to get any of the government job. I'm talking about 20 years or 25 years back, when the craze was going towards Pune side, because they were not getting admissions in these universities, they were going to Pune. But then off late, like in the last 1 decade, if you look at, so people who were outside, they explore the things, they know how the things are happening, and then they come back. Of course, they come back at one point of time, they discuss the same thing, they tell about to other parents or this thing. Then what happened, like as ma'am said, I agree, the academic facilities are good, library, okay, excellent, there is no doubt about it. But then we have to know, to get employment or to be employed, we also need some other skills.
Yes.
So that whole thing is a kind of a vacuum, like even your communication, suppose. So how do you make sure they also communicate very effectively? There is no lab for that. Now, if they want to study, suppose English, they will get very good books. They want to study history, they will get very good. I have no doubt about it, and the infrastructure is good. But preparing them and making them employable, this is a big question, not only in ZU or most of the universities in the region.
So, Dr. Sarkar, is it the fear of what lies beyond the campus that is driving a lot of students outside? What lies beyond the campus in Guwahati? What lies beyond the campus in Delhi? And what is the difference between the two? Is it that fear that is driving a lot of our brighter minds outside, the best minds, probably?
Yes, partly. I would agree that, when you say beyond what lies beyond the campus, we are basically talking about curiosity to explore educational and employment opportunities outside the state. But I think, when you look at the problem from a broader perspective, from a larger worldview, we are basically talking about three other problems at hand. Firstly, how is the state compensating for the increasing number of graduates every year? We are producing more and more graduates and, postgraduates every year, twice a year, and how are they compensating the educational requirements, occupational requirements of these newly graduated students, all right? Secondly, it comes, you will find some kind of employment opportunities being made available, but the pay, when it comes to the salary, it's extremely less. It is not motivating at all. And whenever, you talk about a job, salary is the main motivation. So if you're paying 10,000 to a graduate, what kind of self-respect are we teaching to those kids, all right? And, like Mr. Borwa said, the third and the most important point comes to the question of employability. How far are these people actually employable? Because there are many other credentials which needs to be taken into account when you're talking about considering the employability of the newly graduated students. There are problems which need to be, discussed.
Now, Ranjan, okay, we are saying students are in the limbo right after graduation, but in most cases, if we see in most cases, probably the problem begins right after the 12th.
Correct.
A lot of students are pursuing a degree course because they don't know what else to do. Probably they couldn't take a decision on which professional course to pursue, or they couldn't afford. So they just decide to take up a degree course. It could be a general course. It could be an honors course.
Right.
I have seen a lot of students who were who took training for appearing for medical and engineering courses, couldn't get through, so I decided to take up any course, in the degree level, take up an honors for the sake of it, and just get over the degree. Is that also a major problem? A lot of students pursuing degree were at one point of time reluctant to do so at the general level, but they just did it, and they're not sure why did have done that.
See, that's very correct, because in many places, some of the metros or places like good tier cities are fine enough, but when you go to other parts, mostly they're still unaware of what to take up. I'll give you a small example. One person wanted to study science. So it is a real fact, I tell you. So he went to a college and he tried to fill up the form. So he was looking at science. He saw maths, no science. He saw physics, no science. Chemistry, biology. Then he saw political science. He clicked. And he came home and said, I have taken admission in science. And then later he identified.
That happened?
Really, it's a fact, I'm telling
Okay.
you. So later on, later it came to know that, it was not part of, because there was no other science. He said only home science and political science. So I clicked on political science. So this is the level of awareness maybe. So problem is, you cannot blame the students all the time. Because suppose I pass class 10, then I go for 11 and 12. So like, who would give me the information? Either I get the information in my schools, or I get information at my home from my parents.
It is assumed they know everything.
Ah,
most
but
of the
the
times.
problem is that if at the same time, till that age, 16 years or 17 years, they do not have that much of decision making power. Actually, they can be trained, but which is missing. So who will decide? Either their parents, mother or father, or maybe the teacher close to them saying that, your son or daughter got very good marks in maths, put her or him in science. Forget about other things. So the moment you get good marks, close the eyes and send them to science. So the problem, that planning and orientation is missing at that
lack
time.
Of planning,
Correct.
lack of planning,
Is
decision
missing from
making,
that time, very
a
early
major
time.
concern. On this note, we'll take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond the Bytes. Ranjan, before going to the break, you mentioned how lack of planning and decision making is having a major impact on the future of students who do not really know what to do after graduation. Now, this indecisiveness, Dr. Goswami, also comes from peer pressure from the neighborhood, family, as Ranjan just mentioned. Especially in this part of the country, region, I wouldn't say the same is the case in the northern part, but in this part of the country, if you score 80% and above, by default you take up science. Especially after class 10. Does that still exist, or we are slowly getting over it?
We are slowly getting over it. Actually, some things are lacking, I find. Like as Ranjan had rightly mentioned, self-awareness. When I started the discussion, I said about decision making. This is where we have always gone wrong. We do not know where to go. We are in the dark, I told you. So the thing is that today, parents have become aware. Even parents. So I think parents need to be oriented. Like we can orient students, but parents also need to be oriented in the sense that suppose someone gets above 80, we still have that notion that 80 and above means you go for science. That is still there. I remember one student who got 80 or 85, he took up arts. So someone asked him, you didn't get admission in Cotton College Science? He wanted to take up arts. Arts is also equally good, equally difficult. But the thing is that people have that notion that if you score above a certain, 80% or 85, you are fit for science, you have to become a doctor, you have to become an engineer. So this mindset has to be changed. As a result of which, see, today students are having so much of stress. Learning is not a joyful activity anymore. They are under stress, and when they are under stress, under pressure, they cannot be their actual self. So psychology here, psychology not only of the students but also parents need to be oriented. That is my view as a teacher.
Now, Dr. Iqbal, coming to what lies beyond the campus, we often talk about it in every platform that, the education we are giving to the children, we are giving to the youngsters, that doesn't do them any good as far as employability is concerned. But are institutes, universities slowly moving towards that direction, trying to consciously do something to bridge that gap, or does it all end there in some seminar or some lecture hall where you talk about and is forgotten? You are a part of an university. Ma'am here is a part of an university. Ranjan here deals with a lot of students as a career mentor. Do you see things moving towards that direction, or we are still reluctant and happy in our living rooms discussing about it and it all ends there?
No, it definitely doesn't end there, and I can speak for my university as well as for Guwahati University as far as this goes, because let me tell you, we have separate tutorial classes where we get to interact with a lesser number of students than in a class. They can clear their doubts as well as, come up with queries related to their careers or any other area for that matter. Plus, we have subjects like value education, and we have constitution related classes which are taking place in cotton, so that the students can broaden their ideas about the different things in the university, in the environment, in the country around them. But when you talk about broadening the mindset, I would like to talk about two things here. Being associated with cotton for about 4 years now, what I have seen, especially in the level of postgraduate students and especially in the context of girls, a lot of girls, especially from the rural and suburban areas, they come to do their masters because they have nothing else to do. You understand?
Absolutely.
It's a little funny.
I'm happy you made that point.
Yeah. And I would like to add here, what happens is that when they pass out, when they graduate, some of them often drop out because they cannot complete it, because, they cannot cope up with the master's syllabus in the classes because they find it difficult. But the people who do graduate, who become master's holders in the subjects, they are clueless after their post-graduation about what to do. Right? And what happens, another point, when you look at the advertisement of Naukri.com, you'll find a very interesting point is made that, you should love your job. All right. A lot of students, a lot of people take up the jobs because the pay is good, because it's prestigious, because it has status associated with it. All right. And how much they love it, how much they are willing to do it becomes secondary. And after a few years in it, they lose interest. So what happens in that way also, brain drain takes place. We recently had the suicide of an IAS officer, Pandey, which was very, very disheartening, which was very, very disturbing. So these kind of issues, they bring up the psychological importance of understanding what is in the student's mind and, how they are under pressure when it comes to peer pressure and family pressure and how that needs to be, handled.
Dr. Goswami, as a nation, as a region, as a nation, are we also heading towards, and it's a very strong word, mediocrity, because of the indecisive nature of a whole lot of us, and we do things just because we need to do something? Just like Dr. Iqbal mentioned just now, a lot of girls taking up the master's course because they don't have anything else to do. And that is more so when people take up correspondence courses. They're sitting at home, we have nothing to do, let's go to IGNOU, fill up the forms, or some other university, fill up the forms and let's do something. So you have a degree. In fact, we had a scam 2 years back. I don't want to name the university here, where people are getting PhD,
Yes, absolutely.
PhDs
Yeah, we all
left,
know,
right, and center. So is this also forcing us as a nation towards mediocrity? Because a whole lot of people who have nothing else to do are continuing with the education, which cannot be termed as education in the real sense, just getting degrees for the sake of it without knowledge, as you just mentioned. And that is a serious problem the country is staring at.
Yes, as Dr. Iqbal has just mentioned, they have nothing to do. So it's just like they go for their post-graduation. They do it. They don't fare well also because in many of the colleges in Assam, the medium is Assamese. In PG level, it is English. So they do miserably badly. And the thing is that there's no way to tell them that even after graduation, you can do something. There are so many avenues. They think that they have to become a teacher in the colleges. For that, they have seen others. No? So the thing is that they do so badly. They can't, because they can't cope with the language. They can't cope with English.
Yes.
So the thing is that they take the exams in Assamese in the graduation level. Then, because the thing is that if someone wanted to do their post-graduation, someone should have told them that take English as your medium. If you want to continue your PG,
But again, does that become a constraint, a major constraint? People have the right to pursue things in their language, and people across the country are fighting for that right.
Yes, yes.
Again, there could be two views about it. We cannot always blame
No,
them.
no. That was not my point. But
Yeah,
here the
absolutely.
medium is English.
Absolutely.
Had there been Assamese and English both, that was a different story. But here the medium is English.
You'd like to add to that? Dr.
Yes,
Iqbal?
not exactly to that point. Language is definitely a constraint. I have to agree. But what I was trying to hint at, when my ma'am was talking about the issues, there is an obsession with certain professions in India. Certain subjects and certain professions, So when you are in the social sciences, you're expected to become a teacher or a professor. And when you are in the physical sciences, doctor, engineer, and things like that. So that is the reason why, there's a research that why are there so less women in the sciences, in STEM subjects? There is disguised unemployment, there is underemployment, and in that context, you have to take into account the aspect of gender. Because a lot of women are absent. And in a lot of subjects, boys are absent. For example, in a political science class, I will find 80% are girls and 20% are boys. Whereas, I was in duty for a physics examination, there were no girls in the class.
The same could be scenario in a literature
Yes.
class where
Even
you have
education
80%
subject,
girls,
yes.
80% girls and probably 20% boys.
We have to
Stereotype,
get rid of those biases and
certain
those presumptions.
certain subjects again are associated with certain professions.
Yes, and that is the reason why we have underemployment. You will find a lot of teachers are women, mostly women, because, we believe that women are more adaptable to be teachers, and in feminism, we call it feminizations of occupations, extension of their roles outside home. So, these are issues which need to be taken up when we are talking about underemployment and disguised unemployment.
Ranjan, as institutes in the region, we have always been talking about how lack of employment opportunities have curtailed a lot of scopes, not only of the students, but the institutes themselves to cater better to the students. But then, is it not here that comes in the added responsibility of the students, of the institutes?
See, that
Ca-
would, yeah.
Can't they go ahead a step further, try and tie up with stakeholders from outside the state, outside the region, try and bring them, collaborate?
That would be only possible when those people of the institute love their jobs. If they love their salary, they would come, take the class, go out. They do not bother who does what. Now that's the thing. And again, what?
So you think that is possible? You think that
Of
is
course,
possible?
it's 100%. I say
people love their jobs?
100%
It's
possible.
happening,
But
it's
only
happening.
thing is that see, a student coming from, say, I pass class 10. I come from any city or small town. I am not aware of. I am not oriented. Now, who's tasked to give me orientation? Say, I come from a very, say, poor family, or I come from a marginalized family. So my parents may not be that much aware of the present educational scenario. So I come and I take admission in a very good reputed institution because my mark is good. Now, whose responsibility to give me orientation? Obviously, someone from that institute. Now,
I'll give you a simple example. Sorry to interrupt you there. Say Penguin, a publishing house in Delhi, hires students from DU directly after their graduation, English honors students. Why can't Guwahati University do the same? Call them here. It's the same subject they are learning.
Correct.
They're not learning French here. They're also learning English, and the students back there in Delhi are also studying the same subject. And Penguin doesn't need any set-oriented, geography-oriented people for the job, the kind of job they are rendering to the students. So why can't that be done from the region? Why can't the
that can be
institutes
done.
go ahead and
Correct. That can be done provided someone take up the responsibility. Who take the initiative? Suppose now already teachers are, suppose from different departments, they are engaged already with the teaching. So what I feel is that the universities, even private institutes, they should have a special cell or different division who would only focus on how to have liaising with these kind of things, who can give them exposure, who can give them some internship opportunity, who can even give them block placement. Why do we need block placement for only few subjects? Why not someone doing English or history also go and do work
But
with
do you
someone?
see that happening? Do you see that happening? I
Very
mean, you are
less,
somebody-
very less in Assam, to be honest. And I would add on, institutes who are supposed to do it, like the Institute of Social Work, they are also doing it only for the sake of, because it's a part of their curriculum. So again, what that happens, you can go and somehow 30 days or 45 days, but coming back, then again, what happens, somehow you want to qualify. And the problem, I'll tell you, the problem is from our childhood days, our parents and teachers would say, get good marks, get very good marks. You have to get very good marks. So only what is coming to your mind is only marks. Skill is nowhere in the mark. Now slowly, but still it will take time. Like marks, we keep on hearing. So everyone gets very good mark. But then getting...
I want Dr. Iqbal to respond to that. Institutes still not doing enough in the state, in the region, to give the student that window to the outside world that he or she deserves?
Actually, I think there are two sides to the coin when it comes to this question. Because what happens, like Mr. Bora said, when you actually allot a teacher the responsibility of placement or orientation, what happens is that we are already burdened, with classes, with examinations, with corrections. So what happens is that for a teacher to conduct a placement cell or to run a career consultation center, that teacher will not be able to do justice because we already have so many responsibilities. That is one side of the picture. But secondly, I would also like to add that especially when we get students from the rural and the suburban areas, we as teachers, we have a role to play because we have to be approachable. We have to facilitate that kind of environment in which they can come, talk to us, get rid of their inhibitions, ask us about career opportunities because, now that it is the season of admissions, we have a lot of students, even from the city, they come to us and they ask us, ma'am, if I take political science, what are the kind of scope I'll get? What is the scope of the subject? And we will tell them, and then they will decide what kind of subject they want to go for. Whether they want to go for political science or English or economics, it is up to them. So you can imagine, if the city students themselves do not have much of a clue, then the people who come from the suburbs are absolutely clueless. So I think it is our responsibility as, the academia, the academic fraternity, we have to be approachable. We have to give them such an orientation, such a vibe that you can talk to us. It is our responsibility. We cannot, kind of just wash our hands saying that, it is the fault of the students and their parents, because we also have a role to play. It is a very vicious circle for that matter.
But then again, you are saying that teachers cannot be overburdened
Yes.
with all the responsibilities.
Yes.
Does it mean, Dr. Goswami, teachers cannot be mentors with the current pressure that is there?
See, decades back, maybe even 10 years back, a teacher had only to teach. But today you find a teacher is a guidance provider as well. A teacher can counsel, of course, because teaching is not a job. Teaching should be a passion. If a teacher loves teaching, the teacher can be a mentor as well. I don't believe that a teacher just should come to the classroom and go back after finishing the course. That should not be the work of a teacher. A teacher must care because a teacher must remember because he or she is there in the profession because students are there. It is not the other way around. Because I'm there, students are there. It is because students are there,
Absolutely.
I'm here.
Absolutely.
And another thing, just let me complete.
Yeah.
One thing is that if teachers cannot do that mentoring or counseling, we can call career counselors. Like recently, I remember we have a course called Guidance and Counseling. We invited Mr. Barua to counsel the students of our department. And till today, I take a feedback from my students, of course not from Mr. Barua. They are so happy. They know actually where to go about. Something that we couldn't do, but we invited him. That was our work. We invited him, and then he counseled our students, and our students are doing well. Isn't it?
Thank you.
Well, I can see a smiling Ranjan there. Ranjan, I'm happy that you are offering those very gentle, noble services to the students. But again, Ranjan, honest opinion, shouldn't the teachers, lecturers, professors be keeping track of the career opportunities in their subject, the subject they are teaching? Is it not their duty? And do you see that happening?
See, I see, yes, some of the colleges, institute, I see some of teachers, but the problem is those teachers are really too active. You can see them everywhere. If there is, suppose, a function in the college, the same person is doing everything. There is a career program. But yes, in some colleges, this is really happening, and that's why they are becoming modern teacher. They are being loved, they are being respected, and I'm sure one day they will be in a different position.
But don't you think that should also be the primary responsibility of a teacher
Yes.
right now? Yes, they will be overburdened perhaps, but again, that is also a primary responsibility
Correct.
in this age of
Because
competition.
suppose if a student come to me, and if the student fail, it's not only we cannot blame the student. Sometimes I have to take responsibility why my students have failed. That means maybe I have, if appraisal is being done, sometime we speak. Students fail sometime, but why not teachers fail?
Yes.
Because if students fail, somewhere there is something wrong with it. Maybe he or she may not be in that academic thing, but that is the responsibility of teachers. A student may not be good in academics. I'm not saying that everyone will be good in academics, but a teacher's role is that as a mentor, beyond his teaching or her teaching, they have to identify where the children or the particular student can go. If anyone doing that,
That is there. That is there.
One thing I would like
Yeah.
to add here with Ranjan, if you, a student doesn't fail, it is the institution that fails.
Correct.
For me,
I agree,
a
I agree.
student
Yes,
doesn't
yes,
fail.
I would
Absolutely.
like to.
My question, same question
Yes.
to Dr. Iqbal. Are the faculty members keeping track of the career opportunities? Say in the field of medicine, the doctor has to keep track of the newer,
Yes.
formulas that
few
are
are
coming
doing,
in.
few are
Few are
doing,
doing,
few are doing,
yes.
but not all.
Do
not
you
all.
see that
Yeah.
practice being commonly followed in the institutes, universities, colleges of the region?
We are absolutely keeping track, and I think I can vouch for my academic community when I talk about it. But I would like to make a distinction. We are talking about mentoring here. We don't have to actually talk about mentoring apart from teaching, because it is a part of teaching.
Absolutely,
We
that's
become
how it should
mentors,
be,
you
yeah.
know, and that is how we operate in our respective fields, in our departments, outside the department. Because I can speak being a teacher myself. I've been teaching for about 6-7 years now, and I can see that students come to me outside class, they meet me outside the institution to talk about what can be done, what needs to be done, things like that. So we become mentors parallelly. It is a part of the, maybe I should say it is a perk of the profession that we become mentors. But here I would like to add that when we are actually talking about placement, all right, when we're actually talking about formal placement in institutions after the graduation, all right, there, we can maybe outsource it to people who specialize.
absolutely.
And
There's
in
no
that
doubt
way,
about that.
we
Yeah.
can operate. Mentoring
Absolutely.
will obviously come as a part of the teaching profession, but when it comes to actually getting them placed in respective institutions, we can have them outsourced, or we can have specialized
Placement
agencies.
is a different thing altogether.
Yes.
Placement is there are so many constraints when it comes
Yes.
to placement, which the institute, the teachers, the lecturers, they cannot handle themselves. It is beyond their control, beyond the control of the students, the authorities. The job is to nurture them, mentor them in a way that they are aware of the
Yes.
things around, not
Yes.
just
Yes.
what is in the syllabi,
right.
but also what
Outside.
prospects await them
Yes.
once they pass out.
We actually do it on a daily basis, because every other day we go and inquire, have you read this? Have you gone through this particular avenue, this particular advertisement? I think it is something that all teachers do, because we want, I will call them our wards, because, though I'm young, they are like my children, because I'm teaching them. So we want them to be in the best of places.
Absolutely.
You
We'll take
know?
a very short break on this note. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond the Bytes. We're discussing the plight of students, especially after graduation. I'll come to Dr. Iqbal once again. Dr. Iqbal, are many of the institutes who are also offering professional courses, they're shrugging off their responsibility by merely tying up with a few small companies or institutions outside, where they have an understanding that the moment our words pass out, there's a place where you provide the internship, and then they're
Yes.
out in the open, and that is how they're washing off their responsibilities, and that is not helping things at all. Is that a major concern? Are they not striving to push their words further, if need be, beyond the region? Why not?
Yes.
That's how you can stop the brain drain, probably.
Yes.
When I have an institute in the heart of Assam which can get me a job, secure me a job in Pune or Bangalore, why would I spend that extra money to go to Pune and Bangalore to pursue the same course?
Yes, I agree. So basically what happens, when we are actually, the private institutions especially, I have to say this, when we are actually getting our students placed in a particular institution, in a particular company, what basically happens is that we get them placed because they pay well. Because they offer good packages, quote unquote. But what happens, I think what we very often very conveniently sideline is, are we fulfilling the purpose of self-actualization of the students, of the people who are actually recruited to those particular professions? Because like I said, when you are in a job, you have to actually want to be in that particular job. So self-actualization when it comes to a particular profession is very necessary. Like ma'am has been saying, for me also teaching is a passion. I look forward to go to work every day. So that has to happen when it comes to the particular people that we are talking about.
And sorry to interrupt you, it's not just about private institutes, also happening in some of the state
Yes,
run
yes,
universities here.
largely,
Certain
largely.
departments I don't want to name, they have the
Largely.
same, perhaps the same arrangement, same understanding. Students going to the same place for their internships, taking up jobs there, not able to manage it, coming back after 1 year, and we have seen that happening in
Yes.
certain state-run central
Yes.
universities, also in Assam.
Yes, when you say that they actually wash out their hands the entire business by actually getting them placed, it should not end there. I think, we should, rather than actually motivating them to get placed, we should actually motivate them to excel, to pursue higher goals. If they get better opportunities, they're always welcome to move out of their respective professions, move out of the field that they are in. I have a lot of people who actually graduated in science and ended up being in humanities and vice versa. But when it comes to placement, I think placement should not be an end in itself. It should be a means. I
Absolutely.
think that is the approach to look at it.
Absolutely.
We should look at placement as a means to push the person concerned, to push the student higher, to push him outside of the comfort zone as well, so that they get to other places, explore opportunities, and in the process they can get further qualified. Many students they take up MBA courses or MA courses, additional double MAs, PhDs while they are in work, and then they go out to other prestigious institutions and work, happy, good standard of living, good life. So I think when we talk about placement, like I said, it should not be an end in itself. It should be a means to push the people further.
But again, Dr. Goswami, collectively, I'm not talking about individuals, I'm not talking about individual departments. Collectively, are we becoming a bit laid back, just doing our jobs as teachers, as faculty members? Are we becoming a bit laid back, not taking pride or not bothered about where our students are going after passing out? Set a target, a goal for ourselves. This is where we want to see our students. Is that somehow missing? And is that the factor that differentiates a top institute from the other ones?
See, you cannot generalize. You
And
cannot.
it could be a single department. Say a certain department of a certain university takes pride in its students, and
Yes.
this is what they have produced, this is what they have done. But do we see that missing somehow, and that laid back attitude creeping in? I'm not complaining that the teachers are
I
not
know,
doing their job
yes.
well. They are doing, but are we not seeing through beyond that point?
Yes,
Beyond
of
the
course,
certain
there are
point?
lots of gaps. I cannot say there are gaps in our education system. We have miles to go. Some teachers are doing it, some are still, they're not doing it. They go to teach and they come back. They're not accountable actually. When that accountable is missing, then you find you don't have that for your students as well. So we have to, all of us, we have to do something for our system, for our students. So we are lagging behind in that. But there are some teachers who take pride, who take pride in their
Absolutely,
students.
absolutely.
But
There are
today we
numerous
find we have a
examples.
place, colleges have a guidance and counseling cell. I'm sure some colleges, they also have a placement cell. Now, recently when NAC came to our university for assessment, they asked us, do you know about where your students are placed? So we could give them the data that these are our students. So if you have a placement cell, students can come and you can have alumni meet also. There's so many ways of getting in touch with our students who leave the department or leave the colleges. You can have meetings with them. They would love to come back to the department.
But again,
So-
yeah.
So these are the things that can be done. Small tips, but they are big things.
But Ranjan, in a country like India, is it possible to fix accountability?
Of course, anything is possible. See, government is changing in many parts. They're even changing UGC name. They're changing planning commission. Why can't they change this? Because it's the interest of the youth population and the population about whom we are thinking that we will become superpower down the line. So government can do, and it's possible, but depend on, like when we talk about accountability, people who are already into this profession, already teachers, they should also take up the responsibility. Yes, we are going to be accountable. And if our students fail or we are not able to produce what we are supposed to, we should take up our moral responsibility. If we have some examples of this kind, then of course there will be demand, because at the end, it's all about the human resource. It's today's youth means tomorrow they will be running in different sector. So this is possible, provided, again, mindset, everything depends, but things are possible. But we have to, again, just to see that academically they're okay. Suppose I come and I take admission in college, I pass out, means Fine, but then again, employability and academics. So when recently, if UGC is going to change, I think as a career mentor, let there be change academic as well as employability skills and how we are producing employable students. So that can be added, and this accountability can be added time whenever government wishes.
Again, Dr. Iqbal, we can go on and on with it, but then it's all related. It's all related. We cannot just blame the institutes, cannot just blame the teachers, cannot blame students for their indecisiveness. If you want students to be here, study here, pursue their careers here, then we have to provide them employment. That means all-round development of the region. Only when that happens, probably things will be much, much better. Would you agree? And you can also sum up as we are running out of time.
Yes, I would actually, this was exactly what I wanted to say. You know, we're talking about these issues and we're saying that it is a fault of the system. But we have to remind ourselves and we have to tell the others as well that we are the system. Right, we are the system, so you know it comes on us as well as a part of our responsibility to do what we can. You know, what can be done on our part to kind of reform the system, restructure the system, reorient the system. You know, when students come, more than them, we have a responsibility because we are already a part of the system. They come as new parts, they come as new additions. So you know, when we're talking about these issues, like I have mentioned earlier also many times, we need to step up. You know, and we need to take up proactive roles, you know, as a very, very important part of this entire educational infrastructure of the state. It is on us to play a proactive role to guide the students in whatever directions they seek to be directed in, you know, and to kind of spread awareness beyond the classroom so that it reaches the parents, you know, so that it reaches the guardians of the students as well, and they can actually vibe in for their wards and can support them in what they do so that we can boost them ahead, not only educationally, but we can become, you know, their friends as well for psychological well-being, for psychological welfare as well. Thank you.
Ranjan, as a career mentor who offers counseling to a lot of students, even invited by institutes, what can the teachers, the faculty members of the institutes do better so that they don't need to invite you more often? Not that I'm against them inviting you, but then on a lighter note.
No, it's fine. The base thing is that they have to take up the responsibilities that yes, we are going to produce graduates and postgraduates. At the same time, we are producing human resource will contribute for the social change in a society. It's not only that we are making them getting some, say, pay or salary end of the month, but we are also creating people. As we are talking about sustainable development and change, they have to take little extra time, and I appeal. Some are doing extremely well, but I request everyone to take up some time. And this is a part of a contribution to a nation. 70 years still developing, I would say let us be all part of the journey and make, before we die, let the country be a developed nation. So this is a small thing we need.
Yes, certainly. Dr. Gayatri Goswami, last words from you. What should be the role of the teachers going ahead so that they can guide the students better, not just in the academics, but alive beyond the campus?
A teacher must try to bridge those the gaps. Every teacher must play his or her role, and I'm sure nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. If you love your profession, you love your students. If you love your students, you love your nation. So with this note, I would request everyone to take their profession seriously and, you know, give and think that the students are their responsibility. They are our children. So if they, like parents are happy when students, children do well, so we also feel proud when students, you know, shine, when students are well placed. They become real human beings with a touch of human values.
Well, there's no denying to the fact that the teachers and the institute have a much bigger role to play in shaping the career of the students. But again, it's a collective effort. The stakeholders, the governments, the parents, the society, everybody needs to come together, and the region needs development, period. There cannot be two ways about it. On this note, we take your leave today. Do join us at the same time next week for yet another episode of Beyond the Bites. Till then, stay well, stay safe.